Carlsen breaks every opening rule and somehow makes it work. Let's learn the rules by watching Magnus break them. Carlsen is playing black, and after only 2 moves, Sanity left the game and the fun part begins. Here after bishop b5, Carlsen helps us to learn the first classical rule of opening: avoid moving the same piece multiple times. In an opening, you need to develop your pieces instead of jumping back and forth with the same one. Alright, white continues, knight f3, developing his knight, and at this point Carlsen decided to help us learn the second rule: don't bring out the queen too early. In an opening, it is considered that you should develop your minor pieces first, your knights and bishops, while developing your queen does not support that development, and it also can make the queen vulnerable to your opponent's attacks. Or at least, we hope so. Now, bishop c4 was played because now the bishop is under the attack, and Carlsen goes e6, white castles, so far so good, but now Carlsen decides that it is time for us to learn the next rule: make few pawn moves. Once again, in an opening, you're supposed to develop your pieces, and pawn moves, should be played only when it helps you do that. And here, it's kind of also looks like a premature attack where black goes for that weird queenside attack with all the pieces not developed and the king in the middle of the board. Nevertheless, the bishop is once again pushed back, and white plays bishop d3. Now Carlsen decided to trade off on f3, and since this pawn on b5, which was advanced previously, is weak now, Carlsen plays a6, helping us to reinforce the other opening rule, that in an opening you need to control the center. And here somehow Carlsen makes his best to expand on the queen side, and he plays a lot of moves in that direction, quite ignoring this central area of the board. Nevertheless, the game continues. White goes e5, grabbing the center and opening this attack. Therefore, now the rook needs to go, and white goes bishop e4, because who knows, maybe Carlsen would decide that, finally it's time to develop pieces, and white decided to shut it down just in case. Now, here Carlsen decided to help us once again reinforce the rule we were talking about already: avoid moving the same piece multiple times. Now, here the queen goes back and forth, while the rest of the army is still doing nothing. The king is still centralized. Alright, but in addition to that, that also introduces another rule to keep in mind. Don't grab pawns at the expense of development. It is risky. You're going to fall behind in development, your opponent will attack you, take advantage of your centralized king, and you're going to lose. Nevertheless, white decided to defend this pawn. He played queen g3 to defend the pawn, also potentially to make it harder for black to develop his bishop. And now Carlsen goes b4, this time attacking the knight. And we already have seen that in this game, somehow Carlsen decided to go all out on the queen side. For whatever reason, knight d1, white retreated back. Not sure why I decided to put it on the first rank instead of e2, but anyway, the game goes on. And here Carlsen goes d5. Now, if you saw this game being played in a park, you probably would think that black player is not sure how minor pieces move. But of course, when Carlsen plays it, you assume that there is something more, bright behind those moves. And of course, while doing all that, Carlsen is also continuously ignoring another super classical opening rule: castle early. Now, white trades on d6, en passant capture, black recaptures with the bishop while hitting the queen, and now white captures on g7, and therefore for black, that castle early queen rule turns into castle never. At this point, something changed, however. Maybe Carlsen noticed that Kasparov is watching and questioning his dominance. I don't know, but he decided to come back to real chess, and he snatches his pawn on h2 with a check after king moves. This rook in the corner is hanging, but now the bishop retreats back and hits the queen while X-ray defends the rook. The queen needs to go, and at this point it is actually funny that computer somehow loved Carlsen's style and throwing out logic out a window, and computer suggests that Carlsen should have played f5, just once again totally opening up the king, ignoring development, going all out and having fun. But we know that Carlsen decided to come back to normal chess. He played knight f6, developing a knight and hitting white's bishop in the center of the board. The bishop retreated, rook g8. This time the queen is attacked once again, it needs to retreat, and after bishop to b7, somehow Carlsen made up for mistakes of his youth in no time. Now pretty much all of his pieces are developed. This bishop is putting pressure, white decided to trade it off, and now he's already threatening checkmate. It's really magical how he turned it around within just a few moves. Knight e3 protects this pawn on g2. What should black play here? There's a very useful rule that helps you in this or like virtually any chess position. It's the principle of the least active piece, or I call it victory lap. You have a look at every piece you have and ask yourself which one is the worst, and you simply improve its position. So here we've got this queen, very active, pointing towards the king. This rook, very active. This one doesn't do anything, and that gives you an idea that this rook needs to move. The bishop is also active, so is the knight, and therefore he played rook d8, putting a rook to this quite open file. Now white goes f4, and in this position, a lot of players would just move their bishop away somewhere to d4, and there is nothing wrong with that. But Carlsen followed another attacking pattern, which I think is super important. It's a very interesting concept just to figure it out, because very often when you play a game, you look at the pieces that you have and you think which one needs to make a move and where to put it. But in reality, to find attacking moves, you got to use another pattern of thinking. You need to focus your attention on opponent's side of the board and ask yourself, how can I go there and create threats? Because you don't score goals on your half. You got to go out to your opponent's side of the board. And Carlsen played rook d4. Again, this is a simple principle, but you'll see how Carlsen continuously keeps using it. c3 hits the rook, Carlsen keeps it right there, right on black and white side of the board. And after queen h3, white is trying to get away from this potential pin. Now Carlsen can already grab one pawn on f4, and after the trade, it goes d4. What would you play here as black? Again, a lot of players would start calculating, maybe I need to take here, maybe I need to take here. Carlsen follows that same logic of thinking. Look at white side of the board, how can I go there and create threats, and he goes rook g3. Simple and powerful. By the way, it's just one of those powerful rules. If you want to know all these main principles to find correct moves, I've got a free masterclass about that. You can check it out by clicking the link below. But for now, let's stick to the game. White goes queen h4, removing the queen out of danger and hitting the bishop. Carlsen goes queen e4, putting one more piece into white side of the board. And again, very, very useful rule. Think about this. Your side of the board, your half of the board, is kind of like your home. And you can't win wars by cleaning your living room. You gotta go out to your opponent. And so black goes queen e4, putting more pressure. But it's still actually quite intense. White goes bishop d2. Now, this knight was hanging, but so is this one. Therefore, it's not easy for white to win material. White decided to also just complete his development. And Carlsen keeps pushing, knight g4, bringing his last piece into white's half of the board and increasing the pressure. This hits this knight on e3. The knight cannot go away because in that case, queen takes g2 is just mating 1. And in order to stop that, white played rook g1. Now Carlsen uses a nice little combo, rook h3, sacrificing the rook. The rook checks the king. The pawn cannot take it because the pawn is pinned. Therefore, only queen can take it, but now knight to f2 comes with a sudden checkmate. With that being said, there was another mate in 2 possible in this position, and let this be our puzzle of the day, a little challenge for you. It is black to play, mate in 2, now rook h3, another way, alright? And if you can find it, please write it down in comments below. And if you want to know how Fischer could avoid mistakes and make his performance so consistent, check out this video where I break it down.